The Judicial Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system formally handed over its interim report to President Cyril Ramaphosa during the week. The report marks a significant milestone in uncovering long-standing allegations of systemic manipulation within key law enforcement institutions. It outlines preliminary findings on how criminal networks and political actors may have influenced investigations, prosecutions, and operational decisions. The Presidency says it will study the report before outlining the next steps, including possible reforms and accountability measures. Let's unpack the implications of this interim report and what it means for the future of the country's criminal justice system with Professor Kholofelo Rakubu, who is a criminologist. Prof, good afternoon, and thank you for making the time to speak to me even as we get into holiday mode. You and I have been navigating these issues for quite some time. Let's talk about the importance of this interim report being handed over to the presidency. It's not being made public, so you and I don't know the contents thereof. But how important is it that the Commission has reached this milestone?
Good day, and thank you for having me. A very critical stage, one which South Africans have been anticipating, and we must take, we must consider the fact that it is not public as the South Africans expected, and some of the reasons are to also shield ongoing, amongst many other things, shield ongoing investigation and the sensitivity of the investigations, and also to prevent media trials and many other conspiracy theories. But then how critical is it? It is highly critical because though it's private, but it has potential to shape, to reform South Africa's justice system. And now the responsibility lies with the presidency in the manner in which they will handle this report. We assume that that report talks to, like you said, systemic criminal infiltration of law enforcement, amongst many other things. And what takes center stage is the weak whistleblower protection. So what is it that we expect the presidency to do from that report? Yes, we understand they must balance confidentiality and transparency by the way they are keeping details very secure, but they should communicate progress clearly. We should know from the press. We should not assume like we are assuming. There should be thorough communication strategy, because the fact that it's private erodes public trust. But then the minute you have thorough communication strategy in place to work with South Africans, as you started with them, that will assist immensely. And again, from this report, obviously, we wished that the presidency can ensure referrals for prosecution and that they are acted upon swiftly. There can be referrals, but we understand delay tactics that we have experienced with other previous commissions. But like I said, public engagement, where you prepare citizens for possible reform, because we expect reform from this recommendation, but then prepare them, engage them extensively, work with them. And again, you can utilize, the presidency is also expected to utilize these findings of the interim report to start safeguarding vulnerable institutions, safeguard even your law enforcement, safeguard all other areas, whistleblower, and also many other, like your specialized policing units, because they are centerpiece in all this. So the way in which it will be analyzed, the way in which it will be interpreted by the presidency, that can now talk to next steps, because we all understand any findings guides next step. But the issue is there political will to tap into this next step, because we are going into a paradigm shift, something that we've never experienced before. Is there political will to ensure that there is possibility, strategy in addressing political meddling in law enforcement.
Yeah.
Is there political will to even tap into that or to install credibility in the justice system? So much is expected from the presidency, but the manner in which they are going to communicate or handle this report tells a lot, and South Africans are anticipating next step from the presidency. But communication, guys, communication is key.
Yeah. So the next steps becomes a critical point, isn't it? Because the confidentiality of the report and the request that we all accept that it will not be released in public tests the public's faith, I would say. But at the same time, that can be ameliorated by action, by us starting to see some of the actions that we were told at the start, that it may be possible in the interim, as the interim reports come in, to take certain actions. You alluded to one of those interim report, triggered actions, such as referrals for prosecution. But what else can the president work with that has come through from the commission that may not necessarily constitute crimes, but maybe within his purview to take decisions on?
Besides referrals for criminal acts, the presidency, let's agree that we're likely to hold off on major announcements until the final report in 2026. But there can be possible suspensions, right? There can be actions against implicated officials through the use of this preliminary evidence, because it is verifiable, right? So there can be certain actions. And again, from this report, although we're not privy to the content of it, we understand whistleblower protection loopholes, right? So there he must then, because there are also pending issues around strengthening whistleblower protection mechanisms in South Africa. We have for quite some time waiting for a certain bill to be passed somewhere, and for quite some time that has been neglected. Through this interim report, we expect actions on that, and tightening oversight of SAPS leadership and prosecutorial independence, because there we have problems. While we await other steps or other findings by the commission, because subsequently there will be other witnesses coming to forth to review, to go against whatever was said before. But then the presidency has all the powers to assist or recommend or take actions in the recommendation around tightening oversight of SAPS leadership, because crime secure, crime prevention, crime control, policing must proceed in line with the processes of the commission. So that is where now the president can even recommend certain reforms, right, that will walk the path with the proceedings of the commissions going forward. I guess, although we're not privy to the commission, but we all agree of the political meddling. We all agree of the constitutional power struggle that exists. And unfortunately, South Africans had to even witness the vulnerability of whistleblowers, some gunned down, some threatened, and so forth. So those cannot wait for the finalization or the final report. The presidency has all the powers to ensure that those critical or those vulnerable areas are urgently attended to. We know there are issues with specialized units. Urgently attend to those, urgently effect actionable recommendations by the commission, because I'm sure there's something there. Some are saying the report is half-baked. It can be half-baked, but the implications are such that a particular whistleblower's life is on the verge. Therefore, final report cannot be awaited for the presidency to advise. Urgently, there must be urgent, swift action around that. Tighten oversight, because certain decisions are currently being taken. There's still continuous overstepping here and there. Make sure that you tap to it, so that by the time the commission finishes, we do not need another commission to come and attend to issues or unconstitutional mandate effected during the proceedings.
Lastly, Prof, let me ask you, in the totality of the evidence led thus far, what for you stands out? Because I'll tell you, for me, there have been instances where I've felt that even if we don't establish criminality on the part of this player or that player, what I've seen is political indiscretion, naivety, and just general lack of diligence about the company you keep, the people you allow yourself to be surrounded by. That's been my picture, my overall picture as I watched the various streams, because there have been various streams, haven't they? Streams to do with the political killings task team and the decisions around that, the nexus between the on-leave Minister Senzo Mchunu and some of the players in his office, his comrades, and people allegedly involved in criminality. Then there was that whole stream around the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department. So that's been my impression. What's been yours on the totality of what we've heard so far?
Those also have been my takeaway, but collapse of the crime-fighting mechanism, to just realize that we have a compromised crime-fighting mechanism. And again, corruption in the highest level. That has been my takeaway. But concerningly, though, the whistleblower or witness intimidation, and also the caliber of men and women in blue that are in the system, the vetting and non-vetting debacle, that was the centerpiece for me, that a particular criminal or an offender has been entrusted by the city to ensure safety, and that is unheard of. So for me, that is the masterpiece, where now people entrusted to ensure safety, they are busy victimizing South Africans. That, for me, it's what the presidency should look into swiftly, or the city should report or engage communities to ensure trust, to restore trust and honor, because currently we do not even trust men and women that are stopping us on the road because of the vetting debacle. So we're hoping and wishing that that can be attended to swiftly. But whistleblower protection, agent, next week we should be hearing something, or urgently, so call whoever urgently to ensure that you protect whistleblower. Do better when it comes to whistleblower, because we know all the loopholes, we know how weekend it is, we know how to strengthen it as South Africans. They do have knowledge on what to do. It is just lack of political will and selective prioritization when it comes to whistleblower protection.
All right. I've got to thank you for those insights. That's Professor Kholofelo Rakubu, a criminologist, weighing in on the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry and the handover of the interim report.